What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today, we're going to be finishing off our full set review of Disney Plus Next Phase with the chases. I say finishing because this time there's no legacy cards or anything to look at. Now, I could do a video going over all of the LE figures for this set, but I already did unboxings for the pizza boxes and the play at home kits and everything, so the only one I haven't really taken a look at is the OP kit Madison. But if you guys want that video, I can make that video, but if you don't care, that's cool too. So without further ado, let's jump right into these chases. And we're starting off big. The first chase we're taking a look at is Amit, who has the animal, cosmic, deity, mystical, and ruler keywords. She's power, cosmic, and mystics. And she has the avatar of Amit trait, which is sideline active. During force construction, you may pay 10 points to choose another friendly character to be Amit's avatar. If the chosen character has the herald keyword, pay 0 points instead. That character can't be equipped or chosen to be any other character's avatar this game, and Amit's avatar can use poison and steal energy, and also scores points they paid for this trait when they're KO'd. So kind of like an equipment, you can pay 10 points, put her on the sideline, and you can make one of your characters her avatar, giving them, in her case, steal energy and poison, which is pretty great. I really like this one for Kong and some other mystical characters you might want to use with Chthon from Wheels of Vengeance. Just to be able to give them that steal energy and kind of, make up for having to take an unavoidable every time they do something. And the fact that, it doesn't say standard character or anything, you can put them on Colossals like Kong, so that's really cool. But, I mean, as far as her actual dial goes, for 125 points, you got Charge, Quake, Combat Reflexes, and Exploit Weakness, and Giant Size. And if you take a look at the back of her card here, she has Invincible, Traded, which is awesome, and when she is KO'd, you may choose a friendly character and deal 1 damage to each opposing character within 2 squares of that character. If the chosen character is Amit's avatar, this character deals penetrating damage, protected pulse wave, and then on her special defense power, she has stop, regeneration, and regeneration as free. So some pretty great specials there. If you're actually playing her on the map for 125 points, she is a big threat. Charge, Quake, Exploit with giant size and giant reach and everything is pretty crazy. She can, hit a huge area for 2 penetrating damage and knockback. She's got a 19 combat reflexes with traded Invincible. And, that's 2 stop clicks with just a free regen up. And yeah, pretty nuts. Late dial, she gets some pulse wave and shape change, and then she gets prob on her stop clicks too. So, I mean, it's a pretty great dial. A little short, but 2 stop clicks I think is worth it. And, unoutwittable Invincible is really hard to hit through sometimes. So, Amit, super powerful, pretty good to play on the map, but of course, as an avatar, infinite possibilities there. Oh, and I will point out as well that, sideline active traits, this confuses a lot of people. They are active still on the map. Just because it's sideline active doesn't mean it's only active on the sideline. Just means that it's also active on the sideline. So you can play her for 125 points, and kind of like her other trait suggests, right, if she has to be on the map to be KO'd, so that you can do the thing where everyone within 2 squares of them is dealt damage, and then if that's your avatar, they also get penetrating damage the rest of the game. So yeah, I mean, definitely has her uses on the map and off the map. I think overall she's a great figure. Next up, we have everybody's favorite Egyptian god, Khonshu. Of course, he has the same sideline active trait here with the avatar thing. The only difference is he gives his avatar stealth and probability control, which are 2 amazing powers to hand out to anybody. He himself has improved targeting for hindering, 6 range double target, 6 movement with hypersonic, 11 penetrating blast, 19 invincible, 4 damage with outwit. Again, he's also power, cosmic, and mystics. Again, he's 125 points, 2 stop clicks, which his stop clicks, again, regen and regen as free. However, he has a trait which gives him traded probability control, and when he is KO'd, you can choose a friendly character and place them up to 4 squares away from their current square, and if that character is his avatar, this game, that character has free, place this character up to 3 squares away from their current square. So they can free place themselves for the rest of the game. So that's pretty cool. Admittedly, not as cool as free damage and penetrating damage from Amit, but, you know, having a ton of maneuverability there can also come in handy for sure. And I mean, he's, I think, by far the best one as far as the actual avatar trait goes. Stealth and prob, you know, you can't really beat that. Those are amazing powers to hand out. As far as his actual dial on the map, he's not bad. You know, you got the hypersonic penetrating blast for 4, 19 invincible. He's got 19 on his first stop click. So the traded prob definitely comes in handy, just making him hard to hit in the first place with 19 and prob and invincible. So yeah, he's pretty awesome. Like I said, the best avatar trait, I think. Plus he's Khonshu, you know, he's the main one. He's Moon Knight's avatar. That's the one everybody wants, and because he's just the coolest one. But next up we have Tawarit. And she has Animal, Cosmic, Deity, Mystical, same as all the rest of them, Power Cosmic and Mystic's team abilities. Now, her avatar trait, again, works the same way, but she is handing out Support and Outwit, which is very interesting. Of course, Outwit is a great power to give to a lot of characters, and Support specifically is really good for certain characters. It does nothing on other characters that you might want to give out wit to, but for certain characters is very, very useful. You can put this on any of the Black Lanterns, who also all have Herald keyword, by the way, so you get that for free. So yeah, she gives support to any Black Lantern for free, which means, you know, playing them with Necron, they can use support and heal each other up past their starting lines. So that's super strong. If you want to play Black Lantern teams, you're definitely going to want to get this chase 100%. But otherwise, I mean, just giving Outwit is really good for other characters too. But taking a look at her actual dial here, she's got improved movement characters, which is cool, and she's got the swim ability, which is interesting. They're all giants though. She's got some blades, 19 invulnerability, and 3 damage with prob control. And taking a look at her specials here, she has traded super senses, and when she's KO'd, you may roll a d6 and heal a friendly character equal to half the result. If that character is her avatar, this game that character has at the beginning of your turn, you may heal this character 1 click. So pretty cool. You can keep healing her avatar up a ton over the course of the game. And she has a really cool special movement power that gives her Passenger 4 phase teleport. When she begins to move, she considers friendly characters within 3 squares as adjacent to her, which is really nice with the new map layouts. You can't really, you know, sometimes it's hard to get that many characters adjacent to you, but within 3 squares is super easy. And then once per turn, when she moves after resolutions, she may make an attack. So every turn she just has full move attack. Now, she actually does have a 4 range, and with her 8 movement, that means she can just full move up, phase teleport, carrying 4 characters, you know, 8 squares, and then shoot 4 squares with giant size, so she can see over everybody and, you know, pretty much over most terrain and stuff. So she actually has some pretty great potential there. And then she also has stop, regen is free like the rest of them. And yeah, I think honestly, she's the most exciting to me to want to play actually on the map as a character, not just on the sideline, because I think there's some really interesting things you could do with carrying up 4 characters and then still getting a free attack yourself with 11 attack, 3 damage. I will say she's the weakest of the bunch still. You know, the other 2 had like 4 damage, exploit, or penetrating blast. So if possible, you might want to get in close and hit with the blades, but you know, still, I think regardless, she's really, really cool to play on the map and has some really interesting potential off the map for very specific teams. Either way, the 3 gods in this set are definitely the most sought after chases, and they're definitely the ones to pull, the ones to look out for. They just do so much off the map. You know, anything that's a really good sideline active effect is going to be, you know, sought after by a lot of players. And the fact that they're actually pretty cool to play on the map is pretty nice too. But moving on next, we have Baby Groot. We actually got 2 Baby Groot chases in this set. The first one here is the like mud bath one, and actually they're both from this episode, both of these chases, where he sits in a mud bath and it like makes him grow all this big green moss all over him really quickly, and he does some very funny things with it. But he has Guardians of the Galaxy, Ravagers, Cosmic, and Pirate keywords. He's got the Guardians TA, so opposing effects cannot modify his combat values. And he has a trait, Mud Bath, Regeneration, but only if Groot occupies water terrain. When a friendly character occupying water terrain would heal, they heal an additional click. So being able to increase healing for all friendly characters is really cool. He has 4 movement with stealth, 9 attack, 20 defense with toughness for 40 points. That's pretty great. He's also got the swim ability, and then he's got tiny size with a 1 damage and support. So he's actually really hard to target. You almost cannot shoot at him because he's either going to be in stealth or he's going to have the swim ability if he's in water. And he's got tiny size, so he's got a +1 from range attacks anyway, and a 20 defense. So that's at least a 21 from range if you can manage to target him. So yeah, that's pretty nuts in itself. And then on his special attack power, he has Smoke Cloud as free, but as water terrain instead of smoke. So he can generate his own water terrain and then support characters, healing them an additional click if they're in the water, or he can just regen himself, healing an additional click also because he's a friendly character occupying water. So really cool, you know, very interesting utility there with that baby Groot. But the next one we have is the like wrestler baby Groot. He's got the same team ability and keywords as the previous one. They all have the shifting focus I am Groot trait, which I actually think I forgot to talk about on the last one. So if you don't know what shifting focus is, it's just free. If baby Groot began your turn on the map, you can replace him with another character with this trait on the same click number. So they can all swap between each other for the 2 chases, the common, the rare, and also the one in the pizza box, all have that trait. So you kind of have like a Swiss Army knife of whatever you need at any given moment, much like the Masters of Evil. I think this is kind of like the cheap version of the Masters of Evil, because all these baby Groots have some really interesting support abilities, but this one is the attacker of the group, because he has a special movement power, which gives him charge. When he uses it and changes elevations after resolutions, he may use Quake as free. And he does have improved movement elevated, of course. And he's got super strength with an 11 attack, 3 damage, some invulnerability as well. So he can charge with a piece of terrain, smack you with that, hitting you for like 5 damage, and then use Quake as free after that. So that is really awesome. Massive damage potential. And on his special damage power, he also has Perplex, but may modify a value by -2 instead. So he can either perplex himself up if you want to, or if you're like sitting on top of elevated and you're looking down, he could perplex down their defense -2 and then, you know, charge with an object and then free Quake and everything. So yeah, for 40 points, this guy is definitely the damage dealer of the group. Even late dial, he gets precision with close combat expert, so we can have, you know, an 11 for 4 up close is pretty nasty. Yeah, this baby Groot is awesome. Like I said, I think with the other baby Groot as your kind of healer, and you have the utility of the other couple of baby Groots we got, there's some very, very interesting things they can all do. I actually highly recommend looking into them because I think they have some untapped hidden potential here that I don't think a lot of people are really using them yet. But I think they're really, really good, and definitely want to try them out soon myself. But moving right along, next up we have She-Hulk, who has Avengers, Brute, and Celebrity keywords. The team player team ability, so she can copy any of your team abilities. She's got a trait which gives her super strength and probability control. And the first time she would be KO'd, instead turn her to click number 8 and roll a d6 and heal her equal to half the result. If she is 100 points, instead heal her equal to the result. After resolutions, you may generate a Hulk bystander protected pulse wave. So she has a once per game when she would be KO'd, she isn't, heal back a bunch of clicks. Traded super strength and prob control is great. And let's point out here that she also has improved movement for elevated, destroys blocking, and characters. So she can just move through everything completely unhindered by the map in any way. She's got triple target, so, you know, 0 range, but she can triple target close attack, which, you know, of course is a thing now. Which I think this is really great with her top tile precision strike. So if she's attacking a bunch of people that have, you know, like invincible, super senses, whatever, yada yada, it really gives her a much better chance of hitting them and even dealing damage. You know, like even if they hit impervious or whatever, being able to still ping 3 people for 3 damage is really nice. So, you know, in a world where we have a bunch of Kongs running around, I think she's pretty great for that. But on her movement power, she does have charge and flurry, and when she makes a close attack, walls don't prevent adjacency to her target, and after resolutions, you can destroy any blocking terrain that would have otherwise prevented adjacency. So she can run up on you and punch you through a wall and then break down that wall. And yeah, that's pretty nice, I have to say. And then on her damage power, she has Outwit. And when an opposing character within 4 squares in line of fire would use Outwit, Probability Control, or Perplex, roll a d6 on a 4 through 6, the use of that power has no effect. So you got a 50-50 shot of canceling out any outwit, perplex, or prob your opponent does within 4 squares in line of fire of her, which is pretty freaking awesome. And I mean, having her own outwit and her own traded prob, you know, is pretty freaking great from a support standpoint. And she has a massive damage potential with the charge flurry, triple target, and everything, precision strike. But if you also take a look at the Hulk she generates when she would be KO'd, he has charge, super strength, impervious, with 11 attack, 3 damage, 18 defense. He also has triple target. He also is a team player. And on the card, it does say he has a trait, but I think that was errated to just not be there. I don't think he's supposed to have a trait, because I'm looking it up here. I don't see anything. I could, if I'm missing it, let me know in the comments. I don't think he's supposed to have a trait, but still, just generating a free, you know, Hulk bystander that's that strong is pretty freaking great too. So yeah, I think she's awesome. She has that once per game save where she's not going to die, which I think is pretty crazy, because if you think about it, she already has 8 clicks with a lot of damage reducers, and when she would be KO'd after that 8th click, you put her back on click number 8, roll a d6. If you're playing her at 100 points, heal her the whole thing. So you could heal her 6 clicks, back up to click number 2, giving her essentially like 7 more clicks of life, so she has like a 15 click long dial, which for 100 points is pretty freaking nuts, I have to say, especially with all the charge, flurry, prob, and outwit that she has. I think she's great. Also, on her end dial there, those last few clicks are pulse wave, which I honestly thought they were Quake, but her card does say Pulse Wave, and they are yellow. I thought it was a light green, but apparently she does get Pulse Wave at the end of her dial. I don't know why, but it does give her a 4 range, and, you know, it's pretty great either way, I have to say. That's awesome. So I think this is, like, the best She-Hulk ever of all time. Like, what more could you possibly ask for? I think she's good at both point values. You know, even playing her at 55 points, sure, she might get, like, blasted for 4 penetrating damage and die, but then she gets put back on click number 8, roll a d6, heal her up, potentially 3 clicks back up to her top dial, and have another 4 clicks of health. So it could potentially take 2 shots of 4 penetrating damage to actually put her down. And of course, she does get that Hulk bystander the first time. So for 55 points, that's not bad. You know, maybe not as crazy powerful as like Kong, but either way, she's got a lot of life, a lot of damage potential, a lot of support powers, and I like her a lot. But next up here, we have Baron Zemo. He's got the Masters of Evil team ability, as well as the keyword and Assassin, Ruler, and Soldier keywords. And he starts with a trait that at the beginning of each player's turn, that player may move a character friendly to them up to 2 squares, and characters can't make range attacks if they haven't moved this turn. That's pretty nasty. So, you know, if there's ever a point where the meta gets really ranged based, you definitely have to keep this guy in mind, because people are going to have to be moving to make range attacks. They can't just kind of sit still and snipe you from across the map. So characters like the old Legacy Thanos can't just sit in their little starting area, barrier up, and snipe you from across the map. I think that's actually really freaking cool. But anyway, he also has a trait that Baron Zemo does not require opposing characters to break away from him, and he also has improved movement characters, so he can just move through everybody and they can all just break away from him, which I don't really like that part. But for his special movement power, it says when he moves, if he ends his movement in the same square he began in, after resolutions, give an action token to each opposing character he moved through that move. So you got 6 movement, you can make a big circle, come right back around, and then give a bunch of people an action token just for free, just for moving through them. Not too bad. And, you know, at the beginning of each of your turn, you may move a friendly character 2 squares, so you can move him 1 forward and 1 back, just to give somebody an action token, and then move through them and maybe a couple other people again. And yeah, this guy is basically just double tokening one person forever and giving a bunch of free tokens to other people. And with super senses and shape change to give him a double rollout, I think, you know, that's a pretty decent investment for 40 points. And with the Masters of Evil team ability, he's also helping to make your close attacks hit. So yeah, I think this guy's got some pretty sneaky utility. I think you could really catch somebody off guard with this guy. Combo him with one of the characters that makes it harder to hit willpower, like I think Kingpin says you can't use willpower. I think there's the Iron Fist that says you can only succeed on a 6. There's also a common Moon Knight that can like pick a character and they can't use stealth or willpower, I believe. So yeah, there's some pretty interesting things you could do with him. If you can turn off somebody's willpower, just outwit it even, then they, you know, just stay double tokened forever. I think for 40 points, that could be worth it against certain characters. Otherwise, you know, he just fills a very niche role, so you just have to really kind of play around him. You have to have a very specific strategy in mind with him. But I think he does some very interesting stuff. And he's also based off a meme, which is hilarious, so that just makes him awesome for me. All right, moving right along. Next up, we have our first duo of the chases. There's quite a few duos in the chases, but the first one here we have is Jack and Elsa, who has Mystic's team ability. And with animal, monster, mystical, and warrior keywords, they have a great selection of generic keywords. I will want to point out that their dial is entirely black and white, which I think is really cool. I think they did that with the other primes as well. So it's really awesome to fit that black and white vibe that the movie had originally. But they start out with a trait that says Jack and Elsa and adjacent friendly characters have, if this character has been damaged this turn, they take a maximum of 1 damage from attacks. That's pretty nice. So it stops a bunch of the follow-up damage. And then that you have Charge Flurry. When Jack and Elsa uses Flurry, one of the attacks may be a range attack. That's pretty cool. So you can charge and shoot, or charge, punch, shoot, punch, whatever. The cool thing is you can actually charge Flurry and just shoot and not make a second attack, or at least the second attack kind of just does nothing. There's no target for it. But you could just charge Flurry and shoot to essentially running shot somebody, which I think is really interesting. And they have improved movement for characters, and improved targeting can make range attacks while adjacent, which, you know, is kind of important because you could charge, punch, and then shoot them while adjacent. You kind of need that for that special. So yeah, taking a look at their dial, they have some starting out wit. They get some stealth randomly in the middle, but mostly have that charge Flurry the whole time. They have a lot of steel energy on the back half of their dial, and a little bit of regen on the last couple of clicks, and some outwit there as well. So, you know, all the black powers and all their white special powers, which on their defense, they start with combat reflexes, super senses, and toughness. So that is a pretty great defense power combo to have. So, I mean, for one, it's going to be hard to hit them up close, or they could just potentially super sense out of it. And I think also having Mystics and only taking 1 damage at a time is pretty cool because, well, after the first hit anyway, you got to make that first hit count against them. You got to do massive damage, or else, you know, if you just hit them with like somebody that's stealing 3, you know, if they don't sense out of it, they're only going to take like 2 after toughness, then you're taking 1 pen, and now every time you hit them the rest of the turn, they're only taking 1. So you might just end up taking as much damage, you know, from their Mystics as you're doing to them, which is not a good trade-off in my opinion. But yeah, they're really cool for that. I mean, they're just a very interesting character. Anybody that can kind of modify, like maximize the amount of damage you can take in a turn is pretty nice. 75 points, maybe a little high. I wish they had like a slightly lower line. Then you could just kind of carry them around, you know, and make it so your big hitter is like that much harder to hurt. But otherwise, a very cool figure nonetheless. But next up, we have Steve from Rogers, the musical, of course, who has the Avengers Initiative team ability and the celebrity keyword. And he has a trait that at the end of your turn, if 2 or more friendly characters moved and hit this turn, give Steve a choreography token. Steve and friendly characters within range can use the following effects based on the number of his choreography tokens. So with 1 or more, everybody gets sidestep. With 2 or more, this character automatically breaks away. With 3 or more, they all get probability control. And with 4 or more, they all get safeguard, outwit, and pulse wave. So that's absolutely nuts. If you can build this guy up to get 4 or more of those choreography tokens, he's giving his whole team sidestep, automatic breakaway, prob control, and safeguard, outwit, and pulse wave for 40 points. Now, it is going to take about 4 turns at least to build up to that. So, you know, there's a lot of games where the game's kind of decided at that point. But I think, you know, even just building up 2 or 3 of these could be really handy for certain teams. Giving everybody sidestep is massive. So that first one, I think, is actually really worth it. And then automatic breakaway can be really useful sometimes. And then that third one, giving everybody prob control, is nuts. Everybody within range of him, which is 6 range he has. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Just takes a little time to build up. But you know, he doesn't have to be the one to actually move. It's just at the end of your turn, if 2 or more friendly characters moved and hit this turn, which is very easy to do. You know, TK out 2 people, have them hypersonic up and punch something, boom, now everybody has sidestep. And he himself also has, you know, like I said, 6 range, triple target, only a 4 movement with hypersonic, so he really needs that sidestep. 11 attack down the dial with incap, and a 15 defense down the dial with his paper mache shield that he has, probably. And then a full dial of perplex with a 0 damage. So he's pretty much just hypersonicking around, maybe perplexing his attack to 12, triple targeting, incapping people. And he also has willpower, and the first time Steve would be KO'd, instead turn him to click number 5, roll a d6 and heal him equal to half the result. Protected pulse wave. So he's got a kind of like the living legend trait that the old Captain America set had. I think that's really kind of cool. And then an intermission stop click where Steve can't be healed above this click. So the only thing that sucks there is even if you roll like a 5 or 6 to heal him, he's going to stop there on the stop click. It'd be nice if you could heal him right above the stop and he'd have to stop again and then, you know, hit him through that. Because he only has a 15 defense, you guys, with no defense power. Like, he's super easy to hit. But at least you have to hit him essentially 3 times to kill him. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say he's not great. He's not super amazing, but he's a super fun character. You know, it'd be funny if we got the whole line of them from that musical, maybe as like Iconics or something funny. But I don't know. It's a pretty interesting ability that he can just give your whole team once you start moving and attacking a lot. Although honestly, one of his biggest drawbacks really is just having only celebrity as a keyword. You kind of got to throw him just on a team, like a hodgepodge team of really good move and attack type characters. So yeah, if he had better keywords and maybe he could build up those tokens quicker, like maybe each time 2 characters move and hit in a turn, you get a token. Until you could essentially get 2 tokens in a turn sometimes, you know. I don't know. He could be pretty cool then. He's still funny and I like him, but he's not amazing, but he's cool. Next up, though, we have Kate and Lucky, who have Marksman, Young Avengers, Animal, Martial Artist, and Spy keywords, and the Team Player, Team Ability as well. And they have a trait that at the beginning of your turn, if there are no pizza objects on the map, roll a d6, and an opponent chooses an unoccupied square up to a number of squares away from Kate and Lucky equal to the result, generate a pizza object in the chosen square. So they get to be generating some free pizza objects, but then they also have free make an attack, but only to target an opposing character that picked up or destroyed a pizza object since your last turn. And if a friendly character named Lucky is not on the map, you may instead generate a number 43 Lucky on its starting click. So she gets free attacks on anybody that went out of the way to pick up or destroy your pizza objects, or their own if they happen to be playing them, which is pretty nice. But otherwise, she just gets a free 20-point character, which is pretty great, and he does a lot of really cool and interesting things. Like he can shut off shape change, and he can reload your trick arrows, which you would think you'd want to give her the trick arrows because she has marksman, so you get them for free. But in my opinion, you really want to give this duo the motorcycle for the running shot and for the passenger one, which means she could carry the Lucky that she generates for free around with her and also have a top dial movement attack, because she does get running shot mid dial, but you're probably going to want that top dial with the stealth and precision and everything. So yeah, I think for 50 points, getting a free 20-point character essentially makes this character kind of like 30 points when you think about it that way, which I think this dial for essentially 30 points is pretty nuts. You know, 11 attack precision, 6 range double target, stealth and combat reflexes is nice. Oh, and taking a look at their damage power, they have shape change, and when Kate and Lucky use it, if they are holding a pizza object, increase the result +2, and if they succeed, destroy the pizza object. And of course, the pizza objects have a character holding this object has free destroy it and heal 1 click. So you have the ability to generate a pizza object almost every turn. You know, you can pick those up, heal with them. Your friendly characters can heal with them. Or if your opposing characters pick them up or destroy them, then you get free attacks on them. I think, you know, getting a free Lucky is pretty nice. And if you give her the running shot, like I said, she can carry Lucky around with her. Running shot, double target, precision strike. Yeah, I don't know. I think she's actually pretty good. A lot of people say this chase is horrible. It's the worst chase, yada, yada. I don't see it. I think they're pretty great. I think there's a lot of value for 50 points myself. Like, yeah, you kind of have to give them a motorcycle, I think, to make them really work. But I mean, hey, even if you gave them the trick arrows, if somebody's stupid enough to use a pizza object, she could just full move up there, free attack with the trick arrows, and then, you know, drop a big arrow or a dangerous arrow or whatever, and do some pretty massive damage. And yeah, and then plus you have Lucky there to reload your trick arrows. So you could play her really well on a marksman team and give somebody else the trick arrows if you want to, and that Lucky's reloading your trick arrows and everything. So yeah, personally, I like the duo a lot. I think they're really cool, and you know, that's just my opinion. I don't know why everybody doesn't like them so much. I think they're pretty awesome. But moving right along, next up, we have the Hulk and She-Hulk duo. Now, I did get to preview these characters thanks to WizKids before anybody else, so I'm already pretty familiar with them. I already talked a lot about them in a couple videos I've done, but they have the Team Player, Team Ability, Avengers, Brute, Celebrity, and Scientist keywords. You've got Sidestep, Super Strength. When Hulk and She-Hulk is given a close or ranged terrain action, choose one to use during that action. Hit characters are given an action token, or opposing characters adjacent to an original target also become targets. That's the one you want to choose every time, in my opinion, because it's not using targeting bolts to make different targets, and it's not replacing your damage value, saying like all hit targets are dealt X amount of damage or whatever. So when you hit with that, you don't have to separate your damage, and you don't have to do a certain amount of damage. So they will do their full damage plus the terrain damage. So even if you have an Empower on them, they could potentially hit for 7 top dial, and everybody adjacent to the targeted character also gets hit for 7, which I think the giant size really helps to see over characters, you know, hit somebody in the middle and do massive damage. Improved movement destroys blocking is really good. 12 attack, 20 invincible is great. And then on their specials, they have Charge Flurry on their movement power there, and they also have Outwit. But once per turn, when Hulk and She-Hulk uses it, if the target has been damaged this turn, after resolutions, they may use Outwit again. So that's pretty nice. I mean, I kind of wish it was just that they could use Outwit a second time this turn against somebody that's been damaged. So that way you'd actually be able to outwit them, punch them, and then outwit them again, versus, you know, this way you have to kind of hit them first and then outwit them twice. You know what I mean? So I feel like that could have been done a little bit better. But for 175 or 100 points, they're not too bad. I wish they had, like, protection from Outwit, because that's kind of their only thing. Like, if they get Outwit first and you outwit their invincible and punch them really hard, or shoot them really hard, then they're gonna, you know, not do a whole bunch. But I mean, overall, besides that, they're pretty great. Sidestep, Super Strength, Charge Flurry, Quake, you know, they got a lot of utility there, and being able to hit with a closer range terrain action and hit everybody adjacent to that character for the same amount of damage, I think is pretty nuts. And if you can manage to set that up just right, you know, they can sidestep to pick up a terrain object. You can have somebody TK them out, and then they can like charge and use giant reach from the terrain object too, maybe like 3 or even 4 squares to hit right in the middle of a big group of enemies and deal them all like 5 or 6 damage. I think that's worth it for 175 points. I don't know. Because if your opponent likes to stay grouped up a whole bunch, then they have massive damage potential. Only downside is if they don't like to group up a whole bunch, they don't have as much potential. And I will say one thing that's kind of weird to me is how come She-Hulk has triple target, and even the Hulk bystander she makes has triple target, but when you put them together, they only have a single target. What's up with that? I feel like they should have triple target too. But that's a very small gripe. I think they're a really awesome chase. I love the big boulder and everything. The sculpt is really cool. So yeah, they're going to take a little effort to make them work. They're not going to be like super top tier meta or anything, but I think they do have some potential to get some sneaky wins in, and are otherwise just a really cool duo figure. But moving on, last but not least for the chases, we have Wong and Madison. They have the mystical team ability, Magia, Celebrity, Martial Artist, and mystical keywords. They have a trait that at the beginning of your turn, you may choose any 2 dark blue or light blue powers. Wong and Madison can use those powers until you choose again. And then on their other trait they have at the beginning of the game, generate a couch hindering terrain marker within 4 squares of your starting area. Characters occupying the couch marker can use probability control and have safeguard opposing probability control. So that is really cool. You know, you can have somebody just run up there and get free prob just for sitting on the couch. But then they also have a special defense power that gives them toughness. And if Wong and Madison occupies the couch marker, they take a maximum of 1 damage from attacks. And the couch marker has indestructible and immobile protected outwit. So pretty cool. And I will point out they also have sidestep, TK, and perplex. So they're 60 points, which I feel like is a bit much, but they are 6 clicks long and can only take 1 damage from attacks if they're in the couch. So what you're going to want to do probably is have them move up to the couch turn 1, and then every other turn probably just TK the couch and sidestep up into it again. So you can move up a couple squares at a time. And then they'll have Prob Control and Perplex to assist your team, and they can also pick any other 2 blue powers. So they could get like Mind Control, Incap, Barrier, Prob if they weren't already getting it from the couch, or they could get Plasticity if they want to lock people up. They could get Penetrating Blast. They could get Mastermind, which is also helpful if they're not on the couch, and or they could get Shape Change. So a lot of really strong options there. I do wish they had more than a 3 range and maybe double target or something to make use of like the Penetrating Blast or the Mind Control options. But I mean, regardless, 11 attack with Perplex and Prob, you know, it's pretty nice. They're probably going to be able to hit that. If they sit in the couch, you know, they're going to be able to tank a bunch of hits, especially with toughness too. So you can't just like poison them or ping them for some free damage unless it's penetrating. But yeah, I think they're a pretty cool and interesting chase. I like them a lot. You know, I love the Wong and Madison duo just in general. They're hilarious and awesome together. This is actually probably my top want of the chases I don't already have. But that brings us to a close here. That is all the chases. Let me know what you guys think about the chases in the comments below, or the set as a whole. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I know I saw a lot of hate about it, but I think it's a pretty cool set myself. I gotta say, I was a fan of a lot of the shows, so I'm a fan of a lot of the figures as well. But if you enjoyed the video or got anything out of it, make sure to smash that like button because it does help me out a lot. And don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you guys would like to help support the channel even more, you can check the links in the description for the Patreon so you can see your name here in the credits with all these other awesome people. And for as little as $1 a month, you get entered into my monthly giveaways. So if that interests you, make sure to check that out. But that's going to do it for this video, you guys, and for this whole set review. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you tuned into all of the episodes. I really appreciate it. But until next time, you guys, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.